Hi, I'm Matt, and in this episode is goodbye to the Reptile S800 Sky Shadow. Now, you may be wondering why I'm saying goodbye to her, and in short, it's time for her to go on to another pilot for another damn good ragging. Now, to be completely frank with you, I bought this one because, number one, it looked cool, and number two, I bought it out of my own money for a review. And it's done exceptionally well, but to be frankly honest, it's time for me to move on to other models and to replace this one. I actually have two others on the way to me, and you'll find out what those are in the near future. Now, I do want to make a point that does not detract from this model at all, and what we're going to go through is all my list of notes here on things to help you with your Sky Shadow. So it doesn't matter if you've already been and bought yours or you are thinking about buying one of these, I can tell you point blank, they are brilliant fun. Inverted, absolutely fantastic for just general spanking around, amazing fun. Now, they are made out of black molded EPP foam, and this stuff is absolutely bonkers crazy tough. If you've seen any of the other episodes which I've been and done made with this model, you'll see me flying it through trees, into trees, around trees, and we had quite a few unscheduled landings as well. It is tough as old boots. So with that said, let me just go and check our notes here. So in the background, I flew mine with a DYS SC2205 motor. Now, to be frankly honest, in fact, let's just put it down there out of the way. To be frankly honest, I would not suggest buying the kit version. And the reason why I would suggest not buying the kit version is because that gives you maximum flexibility with all of the components, and you get to choose what components go in there instead of making a compromise. Now, I'm sure you've seen other YouTube creators' videos where they've had issues with the ESCs and the motors not being great. I didn't run into any of those issues because I put my own motor, my own plane-based ESC in there, and I chose my own servos and also video equipment as in video transmitter and FPV camera as well. So my biggest tip for you with this model really boils down to buy the kit version. It's better value for money, and you get to choose decent quality components which go in there, or maybe just reuse some spare components which you've got kicking around. Right. To go through my list here, like I said, it's tough as old boots. I did go for the DYS SC2205 2300 kV motor. Fantastic choice for this model. Crazy fast, decent flight times as well, not only on 3S but also 4S, and I ran this one with a 6x4 prop. Yeah, really genuinely good fun for chucking around on the flight line. And let me just stress the point again, this one is going off to a new home. It's not getting binned or put in the cement mix or anything bad like that. It's just that literally Rich, one of the lads I fly with, he's actually going to be over here later today to collect this one. He was thinking about buying one, and there's me thinking, I've had my fun now. I've been and bought two other wings, so I need to make a bit of a fuss about this one leaving so I can get two new wings in the door, if you know what I mean, for them. So yeah, that was the setup. Oh, I have seen and viewed feedback on the kit version with the ESC not being up to scratch. I actually ran my ESC inside of the fuselage. In fact, I've left my one in there. That is a HobbyKing blue 30 amp ESC. Has been absolutely fantastic. Not a single issue, not only on 3S, but also 4S as well. It's just hammered it. It's taken my kind of abuse. So yeah, rock solid ESCs. And by the way, I will put a full parts list in the video description for you to help you either with your current model or if you're thinking about buying one of these, so you can choose decent components for your model. That was the motor, that was the ESC. What I did find on one of my elevons is that I have been and put some blend tape on them. One of them was starting to split straight out of the box, and as I do on all of my models, I also do take the time to put blend tape on the elevons. Now, there is a separate video which shows you how to put blend tape on the right way onto your models, and you can pick that tape up either off eBay or over on HobbyKing. Next one is the glue which I used is Goop plumbing glue. Now there is a national shortage here in the United Kingdom because I mentioned it a couple of times in some of these videos, and you guys have just been buying it. Goop plumbing glue has been absolutely fantastic. As you may be able to tell by some of the glue smudge out on the right hand wing, is that we have had quite a few repairs going on with this model, and I did try using Yoo-Hoo Power, just didn't stick it at all. Goop glue all of the way. That is the best glue for this model. Also, I did find that hot glue didn't stick this model together very well as well, and I've had it in a few places. It will be fine if you're a normal flyer, but if you're going to be flying this model to the extremes like I was, is that, yeah, you need something which is more like a rubberized glue, because hot glue will crack underneath the extremes, in short. So, oh yeah, it also did have quite a lot of mold release on it as well. So all the parts where you join, so not only the fuselage to the wings, where the motor mount is and the wingtips, is make sure you really do sand up those surfaces really well with a nice sanding pad as well. So there's a nice key for the glue to join in. What else we got on here? Yeah, I've got a note on here, the hot glue broke. Don't forget, if you're putting your model together, is that there is a little wooden spar which goes in the back of the motor mount. You do need to put that in, and I did glue to the carbon fiber plate to the wooden plate with CA glue. That works out really, really well, and the whole motor mount has not been an issue for me at all, even after probably doing about 100 miles an hour straight into a tree. Because it's a flying wing, the motor is at the back, and yeah, I've not had a single issue with it. I bent a prop and I just bent it back round and carried on flying, you know. Yeah, motor mount, absolutely fantastic. What else have we got on here? CA for motor mount. Oh yeah, tape on here to make a hinge. So let me just go make sure you can see this okay on the iPad, which you can. Brilliant. I didn't, the magnets are not strong enough, especially if you're going to put quite a fat 3 or 4S battery in this model. So I did make a very simple tape hinge on the front, and also I made a little, just a little bit of tape, just a finger grip here, so on the flight line I can quickly unclick it and get in there and change the battery. And I also did find that we needed an extra bit of tape on the lid just to hold the lid down in flight. Again, I was flying mine at extremes, and even with that tape on there, I did find the lid came off numerous times as well. Oops a daisy. Like I said, I flew it hard. It's a great model, don't get me wrong. Yeah, tape hinge. Yeah, the biggest battery which you can fit in here is a 2200 3S battery. If you're going to run 4S, then the biggest batteries you're going to fit in there is an 1800, and they're just standard Turnigy batteries. There isn't any more room to fit any more battery in there. It does look like a big hold until you realise that you do need to put your ESC in here and your battery. And also note the little bay underneath for where the ESC fits. Well, they suggest that you put the ESC is just not big enough for you to fit a standard plane-based ESC in there. And I definitely would not suggest using a quad ESC in this model. Go for a plain one. They've always got heat sinks on top, and they can also take a sustained beating as well. Well, basically lots and lots of throttle in the sky, and you don't have to worry about them overheating at all. And again, even that DYS motor on 4S at full speed for continuous flight, it came down warm. The ESC came down warm. It wasn't hot, it was just warm. Simple as that. Next one. Oh yeah, stabilizer. Now, if you buy the plug and fly version, it will come with a stabilizer. Now, a massive word of caution for you. If you have let me word this correctly. If you have no experience of setting up a stabilizer, do not put it in your model. As simple as that. You do not need a stabilizer in this model at all. It doesn't suffer from waggle. Yes, it may help you if you're just getting started out, and it may help this model in windier conditions, but to be frankly honest, I've flown this model in pretty much every condition going, bar rain. Well, no, actually we did fly in rain as well, but yeah, in not ideal weather conditions, and it flew absolutely fine. Yes, we got buffeted around by the wind and things like that, but to be honest, you do not need a stabilizer. And if you're just starting out with a flying wing, I would personally suggest to you that either speak to somebody who has set up a stabilizer before and can make sure it's working correctly for you, or if you are in any doubt at all, get across to YouTube and check on there. And if you're still in any doubt, do not enable it or do not put it in your model, because these models will fly absolutely fine by themselves. Now, also on the topic of you being a beginner pilot, is that this is a black model. It's black on the bottom, it's black on the back. You will definitely want to put some white tape on these wings, or one of these wings, maybe 2 or 3 bands across the wing, because it is very, very easy to get disorientated with this model, especially if you've been and flown around quite far, and if you're slightly inexperienced, you can lose orientation on this model very, very quickly. And also, just a little tip for you, is that I did find that we needed a little bit of up, maybe 2 or 3 mils worth of up on the elevons at the back. And now that wasn't because I was running her nose heavy, it just needed 1 or 2 mils worth of reflex in the elevons just to get it to fly straight. And again, any experienced pilot will trim it out. And if you're not an experienced pilot, pop along to your local flying club, ask one of the chaps or women there for a hand just to get the model trimmed in for you, and I am 100% sure they will help you with that. Right, next topic. Yeah, doesn't need a stabilizer at all. And by the way, I am very pro stabilizers. I 100% believe that stabilizers are not cheating. They are devices which can help you fly straight, and I used them when I was learning. In fact, even in my big FPV models, they just have advanced stabilizers in them, which means that you can enjoy your FPV flying an awful lot more. But for the novices out there, it's an extra level of complexity, something else for you to screw up, so I would personally suggest stay away from them. But that said, yeah, really, really cool. Really, really cool. Yeah. Oh, I did make an additional support. Now, I don't have it will fit like a standard GoPro camera in the front. And again, that's one of the other reasons why this one's going, is because I've only got a Turnigy 2K camera in the front. It's basically still in winter here in the United Kingdom, and the lighting, the camera, the video quality on it is pants. So if I was going to use this for FPV, like for taking video footage of other flying wings, for example, flying, the camera which I've got is just not up to it. So I'm going to move on to a different platform for that. But a little tip for you: you do get this little black block come with your kit. And so you can run, or you can run without an FPV, not an FPV, a HD recording camera on the front. Number one, if you do run this model without a HD camera on the front, you will 100% need some lead in that nose to check the CFG. Now we'll come back to the CFG in a moment, but a little tip for you, and again just from my extended use and abuse, is that what I did on this block which was provided, I chopped off about 1 centimeter's worth, or maybe about ½ an inch, and then glued that in there so that the FPV camera has some more strength around it, because before it was just basically open, and when you've got the camera in there, that's also protected, because I have lost part of the foam up here underneath the nose, and that was flying into one of the trees which I hit with it. And by the way, it was because I was flying so fast and I was due a few little knocks with dead man's arm. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a plethora of video episodes about me flying this wing over on the YouTube channel. So let's pop that back in there. Now, a note on the CFG, a massive tip for you, and by the way, I will pop up a couple of photographs at the end of this episode for you as well, is that I measured out where the CFG points needed to be, and that CFG point is absolutely fantastic. I cannot remember what it is off the top of my head, but if you get the model to balance on those 2 points, absolutely perfect flying in the sky. And remember, if you're in any doubt at all, pop some more weight in the nose. Nose heavier models are much, much easier to fly than tail heavy models. Now, a little tip for you, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the iPad, but I have got a little dab of hot glue there. I measured out where the C of G line is, and then I put 2 little dabs of hot glue either side, so when I'm on the flight line or when you're on the flight line, you can quickly check to see if the model's C of G is correct, and adapt or change anything as required. Very, very simple to do, and it's worked flawlessly for me. So that's a little tip for that one as well. Yeah, I mean, support for the front. Yeah, if you're not going to fly this model FPV, for goodness sake, please put some bands on the sides of these wings. Normally I put bands on the right hand wing just to help you with the orientation, because you will lose orientation on this model very quickly. I know when I took her out for a line of sight maiden, I'm pretty good at counting rolls and loops, well, just rolls specifically, and yeah, I almost lost it on a line of sight maiden. So put some white tape on one of the wings, and also the red stickers. They do look cool, but when you're like 100, 200 meters away, you cannot see that red on top of the model. So put some white bands on here, just some white packaging tape. Really straightforward to do. So we got that on there. Yeah, there's a note on there. You will need lead. If you're not running a HD camera, you definitely will need lead underneath that nose. We mentioned about the hot glue. Oh, another big tip for you, and you'll see that we've got some lines here in the wing. This stuff is tough as old boots, but not tough enough to handle a full speed pass and then clipping a tree or flying straight into a tree. And we did get some breakage on the left wing. The one point which I did find, and it's no real surprise, is there's not a lot of foam on either side of the fuselage for you to glue into. And what I've done, this model is going up to basically over to a friend now, and I was going to make this mold, and I've been and made it for him, is that I have put some carbon fiber rod across that back joint, got the craft knife, dug in there, filled it out with goop glue, and then put in some carbon fiber rod in there just to stop it cracking again on either side. That was probably the only weak point which I can mention about this model, like construction wise, is there wasn't enough meat on here for the glue to stick thoroughly. And again, when you're doing excessive stuff as well, you do need to put either extra glue in there or just reinforce it with a little carbon rod in there. And remember, carbon fiber is dead cheap. I'll put some links to it in the video description for you. Comes in a whole different range of sizes, super cheap, and I use 2mm carbon fiber rod in there. You can buy 5 pieces about 20 inches or 50 centimeters long for about £3 or less. Absolute bargain. So $4 tops, something like that. Spars at the back. Dig into the RX bay. The one thing which I didn't like in here is I ran the receiver, and I'll show you this on the iPad. I ran the receiver in the left wing on this one, and I had to dig in underneath here to make the little receiver. I was using an FR Sky D4R2 receiver. There just wasn't enough wiggle room in there, and I did cut out inside so you can fit the receiver in. Also, when we're on the topic of the wings, the video transmitter is that you will need one of the 90-degree bends. Now, they do come in multiple different flavors, because you can have RP SMA to SMA, you can have RP to RP SMA. I'll put all the links to the different types in the video description for you. And I'll also put, like I said, I'll put links to all the different parts which I used, because I also used the Tower Pro MG90 metal geared servos. They are absolutely fantastic, and at no point did I have to replace one of these servos, even considering the sheer amount of abuse which I gave this model. And I can assure you, this model received a lot of abuse. I do like it a lot, because one word which summarizes this model completely is robust. Absolutely robust. And that's it for my topics. I sincerely hope that if you found this goodbye video to the Reptile S800 Sky Shadow helpful for you and your model. If you are thinking about buying one of these, they are tough as old boots, and I'm not going to bash this one around on the desk like you saw me do in the unboxing episodes, because that's unfair to Rich, where this one's going off to a new home. Like I said, the reason why this one's going to a new home, I am frankly bored of it. The camera on the front, the camera which I own to go on the front, is not great. I've had my fun with it. It's time that somebody else has some fun with it. And also, like I said, I've got 2 more wings on the way to me very, very shortly. And I need to make a big fuss to the wife that this one's going. And that might save me in the good graces for when the 2 new wings arrive. So with that said, I sincerely hope this episode's been and helped you. If it has, hit the thumbs up button underneath this video. If you have any questions about this model, please just ask. Remember, I bought this model out of my own money from my own abuses, and I can assure you I really did abuse this model. It took an absolute thrashing and then screamed more at us. Really do like it, but it is time for it to move on. And on that note, from myself, Matt, thank you ever so much for taking the time to watch this episode, and I'll see you again shortly. Cheerios!